Ready, this one is about FrostFlakes, but this video is going to be a little bit different. I actually spoke with Jack. He is the owner and the developer. He actually wrote all the code in this. It is not forked from Big Beans or Crops Farm or any of those. It is its own thing. He built, he wrote all the code himself. This is just an interesting project. It is launching as of when I'm making this in about 2 days. So Sunday it's going to be launching. This is an interesting one because they have a pre-launch. You can actually deposit now, and then you actually start gaining rewards when it launches. So you don't have to, be first one in and hurry up. You can just throw some in now, and then it will, start gaining for you as soon as they launch. You don't have to, worry about, being there at a certain time. Anyway, guys, I will cut over to the interview I did with Jack, who is the owner and developer of FrostFlakes.
Just being very transparent. So it's
Yeah, exactly. That's one of my keywords, being transparent. That's what I'm really aiming for all the way through.
Yeah. All right. So I guess let's just get started. I mean, this is a time that you can just, introduce your DApp here, give a quick overview, kind of an elevator pitch of, what is FrostFlakes, what are you aiming to accomplish, and what can people kind of expect from it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, I'll dig into it.
Yeah.
Well, as you can see here, the name is FrostFlakes, and the domain is .org at the end, which is maybe not that common. I've actually had some people messaging me saying that they can't access it because they kind of wanted it to be .net or .app or .finance, but this is .org, so get used to it.
Yeah.
FrostFlakes is actually a miner that I created from experience that I had throughout numerous of other miners. So I've been in, Big Beans, MDT, Drip, all of those, and I've read every single one of their contracts from top to bottom. And I've been trying to see how it all worked out, and kind of got my own feeling of what worked and what didn't work, and how could I improve it. So other than all the technicalities on, how often you can claim and the amount of the amount of rewards that you get and stuff like that. Other than that, I wanted to change something about the presenting of the DApp and the community itself. I wanted this DApp to be community driven as much as possible. So if everyone or if someone that understands Solidity actually reads the contract, you will be able to see that there is some of the variables that you are able to change, like the reward ladder actually. So some of the levels that you have in there, we can change that. And we can change some other stuff as well, but it's limited, of course. So it cannot be too much rewarded for either of those who come in first or later, or the owner or anyone. It's going to be something that's going to be for everyone during the way. And FrostFlakes is actually the application that I founded and created, and I am currently the only dev. I know that some sees that as a pro and some see that as a con, because some would say, hey, what if you leave? Then the application is gone. But on the other hand, since I'm the only one and I'm really into this, I'm really driven by this application, the code, and currently the community that's been building up. Those guys are awesome. I have no intention of leaving, of course, and I really have motivation, that's the word that I'm looking for, to get this going in a proper manner. So awesome. You went into BSC here, and of course I published the contract as quickly as I could to again create trust and transparency, because I really want to show what I'm creating, and I want to make sure that everyone knows that I'm not trying to do something malicious here. I'm trying to create an app that everyone can take their own take on or get their own opinion on and see if they want to jump into this or not. And of course, it's created to be able to give the individual investor a daily return in the long run. So as we all know, with these kind of debt miners, you put in certain amount of money, let's say $100 and something like that, and then normally you will have to, in quotes, wait and compound and hope that nothing happens within this window until you actually get profitable.
Yeah.
So I want to do something here that, of course, makes it profitable for every investor that jumps into this.
Awesome. So what makes FrostFlakes, what makes it different than, like, we've got baked beans, we've got crops farmer, we got, they're kind of variations of the same thing. Some have guardrails on them, so some don't. What makes yours different than all the rest?
So as you mentioned, there's more or less the same thing when you compare baked beans and let's say crops farmer. One of the things that crops farmer has is one of the same features that I have, which is securing healthy compound / claim ratio. So making sure that you can't just overclaim and then drain the contract if you become a whale, or at some certain stage just think, okay, now I have a huge totally locked value and I can just claim every hour, every 12 hours, something like that, and then completely drain the contract. So when I created FrostFlakes, I wasn't aware that the cross farmer actually existed. I was too deep dived into my own code contracts that I didn't really follow along with the space at that point. So when I started to promoting this, I was said that it was a unique feature, and apparently it isn't anymore. But there are several other things that actually makes this dApp stands out. So we have the claim dependencies, which is what I call it, securing a healthy compound / claim ratio, which if we compare it, baked beans and stuff like that doesn't have. Then there's this thing about the liquidity fee. So many other miners also have a contract fee. So you kind of get that fee back into the contract. But I added something that I call the liquidity fee. And the liquidity fee, if you go down there, the liquidity fee is also 2%. And that's only on deposit and defrost. What happens here is that the 2% goes into the contract owner address, which I also call the liquidity address. All these fees will then be forwarded to the liquidity pools of PancakeSwaps. And in here, I say each month, and that's what I'm aiming for. But of course, it needs to make sense in order of transaction fees and stuff like that. And then whenever, again, it's rewardable and it makes sense in order to fees, I will be compounding all of the rewards going into these liquidity pools. And as more as we compound, the more we will gain each reward, just like a miner actually. And then whenever the contract fee the contract totally locked value seems to be in need of some liquidity, I can feed the contracts with the rewards from the liquidity pools.
Okay, so this is kind of like a treasury where 2% of those transactions, you're going to put them in liquidity pools, like over on PancakeSwap, and then feed that back into the contract balance when it needs it. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's correct. And then in here, I'm typing down PancakeSwaps because there's so many people out there who knows what that is and they know what the liquidity pools are. And I want to keep it simple. So yeah, you can call it treasury and all that stuff, but I'm just trying to make it really friendly for everyone to read and understand. So making sure that people actually understand what this is. And mainly it's actually just to make sure that I get some kind of third-party income. If that's from PancakeSwap or somewhere else, that could be providing some sort of percentage, which later on can be either compounded or fed back into the contract. It really doesn't matter where it actually comes from, but I will start with the PancakeSwap liquidity pools. And then from the community, because this is something that I want to be community driven, not just the liquidity, but the dApp itself, we can decide in there together what will make better sense going along. But that's way into the future at this point. But that's mainly my perspective on it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for things that are sustainable, and that's one thing that kind of has always bugged me about a lot of other dApps that say they're sustainable. Is I even saw it in the ROI days where it was just, you know, straight Ponzi-nomics. You know, it was first in, first out, and what they would do is they would take a percentage of what people deposited and stick it in another little bucket and say that was an insurance fund. It's like, well, what's the point? You know, if it's not going to earn anything, it's not going to, you know,
it's nothing other than just another address.
Yeah, all you did was just move it to another bucket, and then what's needed, you move it back. Like it's useless even doing that. So
yeah, exactly. But one of the concerns that have been presented for this as well is that people they ask me, is this handled by the contract? And no, it's not. And the reason to why it's not handled by the contract, I know that also introduces other concerns like, well, you can do whatever you want with that liquidity fee. Yeah, I could, but that's not my intention at all. And the only reason to why I haven't added this completely into the contract is that pancake swaps will change their pools. They actually just did recently. And if that happens, the contract will be, not working in any way. And I won't be able to pull out any of these fees and help the totally locked value or the community in any way.
Yep.
So I want this to be flexible. I know that it introduces other concerns, but I want this to be flexible also in the terms of it being community driven, so people can actually just help me figure out what would be the most rewardable way for us to spend these kind of fees.
Yeah. Okay. And do you plan on like publishing or you know, showing, you know, earnings on these and when what's going on?
Oh yeah, definitely. All transactions are gonna be transparent. So I'm gonna show every transaction for every little thing that I'm forwarding to PancakeSwap and adding to the liquidity and staking the liquidity and pulling it out and stuff like that.
Okay.
So one of the things that I actually, sorry for interrupting, one of the things that I actually mentioned, in the end there is that the rewards from all this will be used for marketing, hosting, and other expenses, and eventually the rest of it will go into the contracts. Okay. So for hosting and other expenses, what are these other expenses? People will always ask me that, how do you get anything from this? And of course, maybe I will get a little bit something from it, but because that I actually trust more in this dApp than something else, I'm not going to personally rely on getting fees from other people. I'm going to invest in the dApp myself with another address and see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand, like, especially that marketing section of how much that costs. Like I rolled out just I don't know if you know, I rolled out just a meme miner based on baked beans, and when you get
video on it,
yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's still hilarious to me, but it's 2 or 3% isn't a lot, and most of that goes into marketing, hosting, running things, because after you do marketing and things like that, it's pretty expensive to do.
It is extremely expensive. I've been surprised, really. I knew that it would be expensive, but wow. Yeah, it's just like you mentioned just before you started recording, is that how one YouTuber would have recorded me like $1,200 for one video.
Yeah. It can go really fast into marketing. I've seen YouTubers charge, upwards of like $4,000 to $5,000 for a video. It can get very expensive very fast. So, I'm all about, sustainability, and, the higher that those fees are, the less sustainable something is. But also there needs to be enough to cover things like marketing and keeping things going.
Exactly.
But I really like the idea of, you're not going to be taking a whole lot from this yourself, but you're actually going to invest in yourself, which is great.
Yeah, that's definitely my way of approaching this. Also, again, to show the community that I'm with them. I'm not, over them in that matter. I'm not raised above them. I'm at the same level, and I want to stick there.
Yeah, great. Let's switch to another topic. And all the other miners that are out there, whether it's baked beans, even the early ones, BNB miner, all the way up into crops farmer, it's all based on, market eggs and blah, blah, blah. And once that gets up pretty high, inflation becomes a real problem. How do you address that? Do you even have something similar to market eggs, or is it very different?
No, don't have anything similar to that. I saw that, as you mentioned, mainly most all of the miners out there have this kind of inflation mechanics built in. And if you read the contracts, just like you mentioned, just like sell eggs and hatch eggs and stuff like that, I think that's the method calls it. And it really smells like that there's someone, I don't know who came first, but one made this app that actually had that inflation map side of it, and everyone just duplicated it without really understanding how it worked. It took me a very long time to understand the math within it and how the inflation property would affect everyone in the system, not just individual ones. I see some miners out there saying that if you don't keep a healthy ratio, you will be punished. Well, that's not true. Everyone will be punished.
Yep.
That's how the mechanism works. So what I did is that I introduced two things to get rid of the inflation. So there's no inflation in this. And as I state on the upper left corner, you have 2 up to 5 static daily rewards using a ladder system. And the static says, well, what it means is that it doesn't change. This is a static reward, just like MDT, you get, 1.5 or something?
Yeah.
Day, and then following this reward ladder that we can go into later on. And the reason why I can do this is that it's been shown by history that all of these miners out there, that if you, the miners with the inflation stuff, if you keep a healthy ratio of at least compounding 6 times and then claiming 1 time, but preferable compounding several more times than just 6 before claiming, then it's actually, in quotes, sustainable, if you know what I mean. The inflation mechanism will not be active at that stage.
Yeah.
So what I figured is that as long as I just keep a healthy ratio, which I can do with introducing some claim dependencies, which I call, then I don't have to use that inflation mechanism. I can just pull it out and give people static rewards, which will benefit so many others in terms of doing simple calculations on your return of investment.
Yeah.
So the the claim dependencies, which I have on the second tab there, is actually very simple. You need to at least be compounding, or what I call freezing, 6 times from last time you defrosted. So what you could do is that if you claimed, you could freeze 6 times in a row, and that dependency would be completed. I wouldn't recommend that though, because you're only getting rewards for 30 hours between each action. So you need to, compound, and then you will get rewards for 30 hours, and then you need to do some sort of action again, and that would be, of course, until you reach 6 days from the last time you claimed defrosted. And from there, you can actually just do defrost, and then would reset again, and you will get rewards for another 30 hours. Okay. So you kind of need to keep that flow. Yeah, sorry.
So with the compounding or freezing, you have to do it at least 6 times. Is there any kind of timer, or can you compound more than 6 times in those 6 days?
Yeah, as mentioned in the parentheses, it's more is allowed. So you can compound as much as you want. Okay. You just need to do at least 6 times.
Okay. So you just have to meet the 6 times in 6 days.
Then you need to wait for 6 days. Yeah. So okay. What I've done here is that I introduced some sort of dependency, but I'm not locking anything. So it actually also opens up for you to do your own strategies here, of course, with limitations that you need to have the indices completed before you can actually defrost. But other than that, you can compound as much as you like.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the problem I have with some others, I mean, I'm going to single them out. Crops Farmer, it was a good step forward, coming from something like baked beans. But the problem I have is like, that 12-hour timer. I can't really compound, between that and,
people need sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to sleep. Our lives don't revolve around your DApp. So, yeah.
No, I totally agree on that one. I actually created, I'm in Crops Farmer as well. And mainly the reasons why I jumped into one of these miners is, of course, first off, when I started with all this, I didn't know what it was. So I had to test the things out. So because I've been creating a lot of Python scripts to do the automatic compounding and claiming for individual miners. So I started out knowing Solidity and Python by creating these scripts for the communities out there to give something back to the communities.
Yeah.
So if you want, I have a script for you. It's open source. Everyone can just take a look at it.
Great. Yeah, I just need one for Detonator on EMP.
I can look into that.
Yeah, that one. If you, I don't know if you ever looked at Detonator, but their rewards they go up every 24 hours, and then if you don't compound or withdraw after 24 hours, you lose the rewards for that day. They're just gone, and it's
just gone. Oh Jesus! Oh, that's stressful.
Yeah. I was out on vacation last week, and I was in a place with limited connectivity, and I couldn't I lost 4 days worth of rewards because I just couldn't do anything about it. Then they were just gone.
It's annoying.
Yeah, it's just really annoying. Yeah, especially if it's 20 minutes after that 24-hour window, and you're just like, oh, I missed that for the day.
Yeah. If you dozed off for some things, it's crap.
Yeah. I had to, run out and do something with the kids, and it's gone.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be like that, right? You should be able to calmly and in a good, state of mind, be with your kids without worrying that you're losing profit or losing rewards or anything.
Yeah. Sorry, just some things that bother me about other things. So I just like the flexibility. Yeah, that's
of course. Yeah, for sure. But that's actually one of the main reasons why I kept it like this. So you can still do sort of a strategy, but with limitations, of course, in order to keep a healthy compound/claim ratio.
Yeah, people can't just go in there and just keep dumping on the contract.
They can.
Yeah. Let's see. I think we talked a lot about we talked a bit about sustainability. We talked about returns. Let's talk about this downline, the extra daily rewards. Is this basically based on the referral bonuses, or?
No, it's not based on the referral bonuses. I am considering trying to redo the text here, the explanation, because unfortunately it seems that many people are getting this wrong. So the downline extra bonus is actually not your 5% referral bonus. So let's say that I refer to you, you get 5% from me each time I compound. If you have 5 referrals in total, you will be gaining 5% extra on your daily reward. So if you look in the calculation example at the bottom there, if you have 2% on your daily reward from 180,000 FrostFlakes, and you have 5% on your downline, which means that you have 5 referrals, or of 9 referrals, you will have 5% on this downline percentage. Then you first have to take the 2% of that 180,000. Which is the 3,600. And then from there, afterwards, you need to add 5% to that reward. So it's not like you don't take the 5% from your referral and then plus that 5%, so you have 10% from your referral. That's not how it works.
Okay.
It's an extra bonus on your reward. So after the calculation of the initial reward. And the initial reward, this example doesn't include the normal referral, the referral that you get. I left that out on purpose.
Okay. And with the referrals, what I'm seeing is that those referrals go into your locked, I guess, deposit, basically, correct? It doesn't like actually go to your wallet or something you can just withdraw. Is that correct?
Exactly. That's actually another thing that I would like to highlight a little bit in difference of other miners is that, as you mentioned, whenever you have something that comes from your downline in your sort of referral, mainly actually whenever they do the initial deposit, you sometimes get that 5 to 15% from your referral deposit. And that amount you can just withdraw straight away to your wallet. So let's say that I'm a small fish within a miner. I only add in 0.1 BNB. And then you have a whale coming in, referring to me, pushing in 2 BNB. Then all of a sudden I can claim 0.3. Excuse me if my math is wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's good. If you have a 15% referral, of course, then I can just withdraw that straight away, and I'll be in plus. So of course, that's maybe also including a little bit of luck. But what I've done here to create even more sustainability is that whenever you have something that comes from a referral, if it's an airdrop or initial deposit from a referral or the normal 5% referral reward, all of this goes straight into your locked FrostFlakes. So straight into your total lock value within this dApp. So you're not able to just pull it out and then kind of skew whoever gets more or less and who's locked and who's not.
Yeah, and even some of the other ones, like the newer ones, like Crops Farmer, I mean, it goes straight to your wallet. It doesn't even go to withdrawable. You don't even have to withdraw; it goes to your wallet. It's I don't know.
Oh, crazy. Okay. I didn't know that actually.
It's kind of insane, honestly. It's funny because I have a lot of people on my channel. I have a few people that come to me and say, "Hey, you're just doing this for referrals," and I'm like, I usually find ones that have the least amount of referrals because they're more sustainable. Because I'm not just in this just for the, referral rewards. I mean, my channel's got to make some money to keep it going, but I don't like going.
Oh, exactly. No, I totally agree, because a lot of things with all these miners here is that whenever you mention that you have a referral system, and if you talk to someone who mainly doesn't know about, the crypto space or something like that, but you mention how a dApp miner works, they're just like, oh, it's a Ponzi scheme. And what triggers them is this referral system. Because when I talk to them even further, and I mentioned, do you even know how the financial systems work in a very abstract way? Of course, I'm not going to dig way too much into it, but it is built on other funds. Of course, when you have this kind of referral system, it is created to intuitive anyone to pull in new funds from other people. So that's why the referral system is there, right? But if you kind of intuitive people too much and you do like 15% on your referral system, and then again you also just push it straight to your wallet, you're just kind of draining the contract in a flow without keeping it within the system.
Yeah, I totally agree. On that, like 100%. These ones that even go up 8-10%, they're just too high. So
and again, FrostFlakes is created to be community driven. So one of the parameters that we can actually tweak on is the referral. So we could potentially, if people just say this is stupid, we don't want that, we can just turn it down to 0% and shut it down.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. I guess another one is the deposit line. Can you kind of explain how this works?
Yeah. So in terms of the calculation, it's the same thing as you have on the downline.
Okay.
But this is a sentiment to get in higher investments. That's basically it. So if you see that as the text states that you deposit 5 BNB in one go, so you can't deposit 2.5 today and then 2.5 tomorrow and then get the reward. You need to do 5 BNB in one go. then you will get 1% on your deposit line bonus. So that's the same thing as the Downline extra rewards. It's calculated in the same way. So it's calculated from your rewards of your daily rewards, not actually added into your daily rewards in that sense. And then you can only get that up to 10%. And again, the 5 BNB is something that we can tweak. I could turn it down to 1 or pull it up to 10 or yeah.
Okay.
Or infinity if you don't want anyone to get deposit line bonuses.
Nice. All right.
And actually, just one thing just to make everyone aware of it is that the as mentioned in the last line is that let's say that you have 2 on your deposit line extra bonuses and you have 5 on your downline extra bonuses. These 2 numbers are added together and then added to your rewards. So it's not like that you take first 2% on the reward for your downline and then 5% on your. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. Just thinking of things we haven't covered. Campaigns.
Yeah, that's a completely new thing. I haven't seen anyone else have this before, and it's an idea that I actually came to me from BNB Miner. So a little shout out to them. The idea came from that they had this kind of I would call it a campaign, but they said that if you deposit 0.5 BNB and then again within 24 hours would deposit 0.5 BNB, you would get 50% back from your total investment. So you would have a total lock value of 1 BNB, but you would get 0.5 back from them. And they had this going several times a day, maybe, or it could be that it was that within 24 hours, but several times within a week, just to incentivize people to add in more into this miner. So what the campaign here does is that it again builds on the referral system. It has some requirements in order for you to claim it, and the requirements is a number of referrals to add a minimum investment. So right now, from the campaign that's running right now, we have the pre-launch going on FrostFlakes, and the main launch is going live on Sunday. And during this pre-launch, we have this pre-launch campaign, which states that if you get 3 referrals with 0.1 BNB investment, as a minimum, your referrals can invest more than 0.1, of course. You will be able to claim 2% on your deposit line extra rewards.
Okay.
The deposit line extra rewards is something that's mainly is hard for many of the investors to get to because it's a high amount of BNB to add in. But you have other ways of getting that extra reward, and that's through these campaigns. So if you're better at getting referrals instead of having a lot of funds yourself, you can be able to raise your deposit line as well. So it's kind of a way also to include other ways of getting the same rewards instead of saying, hey, if you're a whale, you get you potentially get more rewards than others.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you don't have tons of funds, but you know a lot of people that you can get in, then it's a way to help you out too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So no one is left behind in that sense.
Yeah. Okay. Airdrops. I never really looked into this yet. Is that something that's going to be happening?
Yeah. Okay. I get where you're going with that. No, it's just something. It's just that you're able to airdrop your referrals.
Okay, so you can send them basically locked FrostFlakes then.
Yeah. That's gonna get, yeah, as you say, gonna go straight to your locked FrostFlakes. It's just like I think it's MDT. They have airdrops as well, so you can maintain your downline. I know that there's a lot of people, at least in Telegram, that have these huge groups where they have a ton of referrals, and then they every week airdrop them certain amount into the system.
Okay.
So that's actually only just to be able that people can help out their referrals.
Okay. So yeah, people use my video and jump into this, I can just airdrop them the FrostFlakes so they can earn more, correct? Okay. All right. One thing I want to do on this, I'm actually just going to deposit here. I think it usually asks a question when you do that, right?
Yeah, it does.
So this one, the downline bonus, this just says, hey, do you want to be part of it, correct?
That's correct. So what this pop-up does is that if you accept this, you refer to the liquidity address, the owner address. And if you do that, you will get 2% on your download bonus. So it's kind of a way to get you started on all this. And I heard some mentioning concerns about this. So why is the owner address a user in the system? Why is the owner address a part of the contract? The owner address is, of course, the liquidity contract. And in order for you in the 2% liquidity fee, but also by referring to this address, you help the system even further for the liquidity contract to have even more funds to put into a third-party income. And the owner address, if you read the contract as well, it's all there, but the owner address has some sort of limitations. The owner address is not able to compound, and it will always only have the level 1 in the reward ladder. So it's not able to stack up like everyone else. So it's not on the same level as everyone else, but it does add in a little bit more to the liquidity.
Okay. So I'm just going to buy here. Of course, we have to wait for good old BSC to get through this.
Yeah, sometimes a little bit slow.
It's better than others like Polygon, or sometimes those take forever.
And sometimes also Phantom, actually. I've seen that really fluctuates in speed and the gas fees and only. Yeah,
it seems like it's gotten worse the last month or so on Phantom.
Yeah, it definitely has. Yeah.
All right, so I have just deposited. It just talks about how many FrostFlakes I now have, and then rewarded. That's going to start on Sunday, I'm guessing. Is that correct? That's
correct. Yeah. So if you scroll a little bit further down, you can see that you have this progress bar. It's at 0% because you're not getting any rewards until the contract is live. Okay. And that's a poor choice of words. It's after the main launch. I just haven't changed that.
Yeah, that's fine.
And as you can see, the airdrops are currently disabled. I'm going to enable that on Sunday when the main launch goes live as well.
Sounds good. So so to clarify that, the pre-launch is going on now. You can go and you can deposit, but you're not going to start gaining any rewards until it goes live Sunday.
Correct. Yeah, and the reason to that is that maybe I didn't have to do that throughout an entire week, so the pre-launch could maybe have been for a couple of days. But I wanted everyone to have the opportunity to see this and read about and understand it before they actually took a decision to deposit anything. And what I've seen and heard from many others is just like, oh, you need to get in now. You need to get in now because first in, first out, and don't miss out on all the rewards and stuff like that. Well, chill. Just take it calm and reasonable. And so for the first week, you're not getting any rewards. That's going to give a big window of time for everyone to understand what this is. And then on Sunday, you will start getting your rewards.
Okay, great.
Of course, if I can elaborate a little bit on that first in, first out, that doesn't matter. That's completely eliminated with the static rewards, because with the static rewards, if I can just ask you to scroll down to the feature section again. And if you pick the top one that you already selected, you can see that 1 BNB equals a certain amount of FrostFlakes. That's static. That's not going to change in any way. So that's also something that's going to be very easy for people both to understand, but also to be able to predict their return of investment. what I actually don't know if I told you earlier, but if you scroll a little bit down, further down, you go into the footer, you can see that return of investment spreadsheet link. I just added that in recently. So this is a spreadsheet that shows what you can expect to have in your total claimed after a certain month of either compounding or claiming. So in row 6 with the yellow one, choose strategy, it's a drop down. So from there, if you select drop down here,
Or if I make
that's a bit annoying. Yeah, try that. Oh, there you go. Yeah. If you select the third claim every third month or every month or something like that, you can see that the total claim, the total log value, and the daily outcome is changing.
Okay.
So this is a way that people can go in and see what makes sense. What would I do for a strategy here?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, a lot of like ROI spreadsheets are usually made by the community and usually weeks after the fact. So that's good that that's linked there. Yeah, I mean, it looks really good so far. One thing I just want to talk about, I always talk about this in a lot of my videos, is the code. Now, your code base is very different from all the other miners because, they're all based on the same thing.
Yeah. Well, mine is, well, you can say that mine is as well. I normally say that it's inspired by all the others, but the code itself is 100% mine. So yeah. I got a lot of ideas from others, but the code is, I did create a completely fresh Solidity file and then started coding from there. So it is 100% mine, and I didn't copy over any method or any, inflation stuff or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's nice to talk to somebody that actually wrote the code instead of
some marketing dude.
Yeah, some marketing guy or somebody to talk to on Telegram that they had some guy on Fiverr or something build it, or
yeah, so they actually don't understand the code really.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some people are just, they're very business minded and they don't know code, which is fine. I talked with another miner guy yesterday and helped him through a problem he was having with inflation.
Yeah.
But they don't understand their own code base. So
then nice I wouldn't expect them to understand that inflation math either. I'm not saying that I'm a math genius at all, but I'm saying that it really took me a lot of time to understand how that inflation math worked. So if anyone just duplicated that over and they don't even know Solidity or, well, JavaScript actually, because if you know JavaScript, you know Solidity more or less. It's more or less the same. If you just stick to the bottom, actually, I want to show you something quick. So what I talked about, if you go a little bit up, a bit further, yeah, there.
Is it this calc daily rewards level?
Yeah, exactly. And if you see there, I have this flag saying if is owner on the address. So if this is the address, it will always return level 1 reward. You're never going to go down the line to the daily reward ladder itself. So this is the logic behind the daily reward ladder.
Okay.
And a little bit of a funny story is that if you've seen the code here, we have 5 levels. If you go back to FrostFlakes and you read about the ladder, there's only 4 levels actually. And this is also a little bit of history about how the community works and how I want this to be community driven. So first, the ladder was that you had on level 1, you had 2%. Then you had, I think it was 4, 6, 12, then 16. So it was, in the end, it was huge rewards that you were able to gain. And very quickly, the community started to show concerns about sustainability, and they were doing their own math and saying, how would you ever say that this is going to be sustainable and stuff like that. So I listened to them all, and I presented for one certain person that I talked a lot about this, I presented a couple of solutions, and we talked about the math, and we went through a lot of style sheet spreadsheets and stuff like that. And we ended up with this setup which was way more sustainable. And I presented it to the community, and they were all really happy about it. So this is what I want as well. I don't want me to control everything. Of course, I am the only one who can control these variables in the end, because I'm the only one who can communicate with the contract. But I want to be the only one to make the decisions.
Great. So these global vars, you can change those, correct?
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
There is a set that level 1 reward or something like that somewhere.
My BSC isn't showing the right contract.
Let's see it here. Hang on. I can show it in code. That's going to be the same thing that you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can, if you expand this view, if you click on the top right corner, just that expand icon, it's way easier to just go through the contract. And then maybe just search for set level 1 reward, I think it's called. What I also added in here is a limitation. So if I'm trying to set a reward higher than 100, 100 would be insane even. But if I'm trying to set it higher than that, it's just going to put it to 100. Otherwise, it's going to put it to whatever I'm putting into this. And the reasons why I set it into 100 is that other than the campaigns, I want to do going forward at some certain time, I want to do like, happy hour. It's more or less just a happy day, but I can increase the rewards and say, if you compound on Monday, you will have 20% on your daily reward instead of the normal ladder reward.
Okay.
That's also just something that is going to happen, because it really depends on how healthy the contract is. I'm not just going to flood people with, promises of high rewards and high return of investments and stuff like that. It's going to be sustainable as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this one, I expect you might get some pushback on, because, throwing that up to 100, there's a lot of people that would say, hey, you could just take the front end down, and only the people that could, know how to interact with the contract, you could set that to 100 and just start raking money out of this thing. Yeah.
I actually see a point on that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just one thing that I've seen a lot of people, mention, but, I don't know, if you're invested in this, and for you to get 100% a day, if you've got a very healthy balance, it's going to take you a long time to get everything out of the contract, honestly, even at 100% of your rewards.
It's not like I could empty it out in one day or anything like that, but I actually do get your point, and I'm really glad that you highlighted to me. I didn't think about that would be an issue, because I had the entire purpose of it to create these kind of happy days, happy hours, whatever you want to call it.
And I think as long as you actually do that, you create those kind of happy hours or whatever, then people see the benefit of them.
Glad that you highlighted this, because one thing that I'm going to do for the site as well is that, other than this, you just raised one concern, right? So other than this, there's some other people raising other concerns, just like why would I refer to the own address and stuff like that. That's going to be a complete FAQ and concern section on the website, so everyone can go in and see what other people stated as concerns, and then my explanation into it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is one of those things that kind of had a discussion the other day with people in my group about, trust, and, because even if you've got a, fully audited site with, bulletproof contract and everything, there's still, a level of trust there that people need to have with the developer. And I think
third-party people that's auditing.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother topic that we've seen the last few days. Yeah. So I guess with that, are you going to be audited? Is that something you're working on?
That is definitely something that I'm working on, but because of the recent events and also because of some extremely high fees on it,
Yeah.
I've been halting it a little bit. I've actually been talking to, well, I've requested a ticket on Mod Society and on someone, what is that? I think it's called, he just recently created this group. I think he's called George, and he created the group for George Stamp, which
Yeah.
is reliable, unpaid audits. Isn't ready yet to look at my code, but as far as I understand it, it's the same thing that you do. You know, they're just going to try to do some sort of bias opinion on it, and then publish it instead of taking huge amount of fees on it. And I think that's good in several ways, but also in the way that as we've seen in recent events that people, they can say, oh, I'm audited, yeah, that's fine, but you probably maybe have pushed on more funds to this guy who audited it that's just approved it.
Yeah.
And then everyone is just looking at the logo and going, oh, it's audited, that's fine, I trust it.
Yeah.
I want to build a trust in another way. I want to build a trust, and as we all know, trust isn't built in one day, it's built over time.
Yep.
And I want to build that up slowly but steady and in a proper manner, without just going broke from marketing and audit fees and stuff like that.
Yeah. Some of these audits, it's pretty incredible how much they charge for them, and they're usually like automated audits. They'll charge you $2,000-$3,000 just to do an audit, and then they just run your contract through a bot and publish what it says. And I mean, it's insane. Like,
it's really insane. I had a quote from Solidity Finance. They wanted me to pay them $6,700 for the report.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen.
No. I mean, I think with an audit, the main thing is, having a third party, somebody that's not, somebody that's, external, doesn't have any, kind of skin in the game with your miner, have a third party person that knows what they're doing to look at it. That's like the main thing that I'm looking for with an audit. Some of these auditing companies, though, you don't know who they're kind of favoring and who they're, there's questions about if they're behind somebody or not. And
I totally agree. That's actually why I really like this this George Stamp so far. I've been following their group and talked shortly with George. He seems like a good guy, but the main thing that I get from the group is that they're very honest and transparent about whatever they see. And there was a video, I haven't seen it myself, but their comments afterwards is also just something that shows me that these guys, they don't just follow the shilling.
Yeah, and even in my group, there's people that are like kind of on the fence with the George thing, because he's actually the developer of all the Crops Farmer dApps. And then there's a whole spat between the Crops Farmer and the Mountain Miner, and it's the nightmare.
That's news to me.
Yeah. And I can edit this part out. That's fine. Basically what happened is,
I don't care. I'm going to be 100% transparent. Whatever I say is just something I need to stand behind. Sometimes you say something stupid, but then you just have to, get on your knees and say, yeah, that was stupid. I'm sorry about that. But what I really meant is, and so on. I just want to stand by whatever I say. So you just put in whatever you want.
Yeah. And we're human. I mean, we make mistakes.
Exactly.
That's the problem, is like a lot of people, one dev or one dApp, they throw a line in there, and they don't, like, most of the time it's not like through bad intentions. They're not trying to rug something. And I've been in software long enough to know that, nothing is perfect.
Exactly. Even though if you leave it and you think that it's perfect and you tested it in like 100 scenarios, so there will more or less always be a corner case or someone having a different opinion or just different view on it, right?
Yeah.
I didn't expect you to say that I would have some pushback on this, but I definitely see it now. I didn't see it before.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, everybody makes mistakes, things happen, and there's too many people, yelling rug or scam or whatever when anything goes wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happened. You know, I did a video on this the other day. It was about the whole crops farmer and mountain miner thing. And I don't know if you're aware, what happened is basically, they've got those
Not in
methods.
details, no.
Yeah, basically, crops farmer has those methods where they can change some values to help with inflation and things like that, and they don't have the balance set on it very well. So mountain miner kind of threw this up and told Hayes Crypto to audit this thing and look at it, even though they're not even paid to do it. So Hayes looked at it and then put out this big announcement saying, "Don't invest in crops farmer. It's a scam, and they can rug and all this stuff." And so yeah, it's this big spat. It's basically Hayes Crypto was out of line by even voicing an opinion about telling people to invest or not in something that they're not even paid to do.
Doesn't sound like they're doing a biased version on it. Seems like
they're it sounds like somebody, like, they say that people ask them to do it. It's like, well, who asked you to do it? Like, it matters. So
though that you were asked to do it, you shouldn't have done it.
Unless you're paid, unless a company comes to you, if you're an auditing company, unless a company comes to you and pays for an audit, you should just stay out of everything. Like, you should have there should be no.
Sounds a little bit like that they had a beef with them of some sort.
So that's why I think the George stamp thing is kind of controversial right now, because there's a lot of people on the mountain miner side that are saying George is a scammer and stuff like this, but then there's a lot of people that he's done very well for and really helped out. So that's why I'm like, people can make mistakes, things can happen, dApps fail. It doesn't mean that the developers or owners were fully intentionally on taking millions of dollars from people. So
exactly, and that's actually also why, I completely agree, and I've seen it so many times before. Also, just people within a split second of just remotely feeling some essence of FUD, they just call out scam. Just immediately, without even know what the heck they're talking about. And well, more or less that's fine by me. But what I really want to do with my dApp, and also just a personal thing, is that I want to show every single investor that I'm 100% transparent and honest in everything that I do. And if I'm going to if I coded some sort of mistake in here, then it's not going to be my intention at all.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's kind of what my whole channel has been based around, finding dApps that are transparent, sustainable, finding good communities and stuff like that. So I think it's a really good start. So
really, really happy to hear that. So I'm not sure if you want me to, but well, it's more or less just very intuitive in my opinion, at least. But all the blocks down there, so now you invested, you can see all your stats and your freeze dependencies. If you just scroll up a little bit, the first 3 blocks there, you have just right next to your stats that you went through just shortly. The one in the middle, that's called freeze dependencies. I could just call that claim dependencies, but I want to call it freeze and defrost within the dApp. But and this just states your process of what you need to accomplish in order to defrost. Of course, you have that big fat no next to the defrost right now because you're not available to do that. And if you scroll down a little bit, you're gonna have 2 buttons. Whenever the main launch is gonna go live, you don't have them right now. But when that's live, you're gonna have 2 buttons just right below the reward process, and from there you're gonna have the defrost and the freeze buttons, and the defrost is going to be disabled until you're actually going to do that as well. So people are not going to spend gas, trying to defrost and then they can't and stuff like that.
It's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's this basically tells you how much more you need to compound, how much you need to wait, and then down here it will have basically freeze and defrost and
should be straightforward. Yeah. And what a lot of people have been asking for on other miners is how much did I deposit? What is the value of my total lock value? And if you go down to your wallet, you can see what it's actually worth at this point. And then of course payouts, stuff like that. And one other nifty thing is that you refer to the owner address when you deposit it. You are able to deposit without referring anyone, and then later on actually adding in your upline. So now you just have an address there, but if you didn't add in the owner address, you would have a link that will open a pop-up where you can put in an address that's going to be for your upline. Okay. So that's going to be some sort of dependencies of that, because it needs to be an address for an already existing user in the contract. You can't just blindly add into someone. And the reasons why I did that is to eliminate the possibility of cross-referencing. So right now for, at least big beans, and I was thinking you can do it with crops farmers, is that you can actually refer to an address who haven't invested yet as your upline. And then so you refer A to B, and then you refer B to A. Yeah. And those rewards goes just straight back to either of your addresses.
Yeah. You can basically stack your own wallets.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy.
But I eliminated that with this.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that's another thing that a lot of other big YouTubers do is they'll stack wallets and then get referrals from themselves and just and then stack their other referrals on top of that and just rake in money out of the contract. So that's good that that's eliminated.
Yeah,
that's cool. And then airdrops.
So if I get a bunch of disabled throughout the pre-launch.
But if I get a bunch of referrals, I can just airdrop people there. So
and then on the if you go down to the campaign, it's showed. So it's just a little bit up. It's just right below the first 3 blocks of stats. And
right here.
So you have the requirements for it and your reward. Again, the requirements is variables that we can tweak on. So what I intend to do is that throughout the pre-launch, it's cheaper in that sense that you still get 3 referrals, but each referral will have to put in 0.1 BNB throughout the pre-launch. I think I'm going to do that again for a certain amount of time after the main launch. But I can always increase that. So you need to maybe invest 0.2 per referral instead. And then when you have your 3 out of 3 referrals that you've seen the status bar down there, a button is going to appear and you can claim it. You're going to spend the minimum amount of gas just to claim it. But once you claim it, you will get those 2 deposit line reward bonuses into your extra rewards. And then until that campaign is closed, you're not able to claim it again or get more of it. So it's not stacking, it's not that if you had 6 instead of just 3, then you could claim again. It's nothing like that. It's just if you get those requirements done once, you can only claim them once.
Okay, nice. So I guess the last question I have on this is there a roadmap, or do you have anything planned after the miner? Is there something else that you're working on?
For future projects, I have one idea, and that is something that a lot of people have been asking me for. Is there going to be an auto compound claim feature within FrostFlakes? And since the contract is already published and live, it's immutable. So, other than the variables that I can change, but the contract itself is immutable. I can't change the contract code itself, so I can't add in any auto compound or claiming. But I do have worked out an algorithm that actually does it and also enables you as an investor to set your strategy. So instead of, because it's quite easy to just say, lock this for a week and you will get the same amount of rewards as if you were in a normal miner compounding each day. But what I've created, still testing it, but what I've created so far is that you as an investor can actually go in and you can say, I want to auto compound 4 times a day or 2 times a day until the claim dependencies is acquired, and then I can claim, or I can just say I want to keep compounding twice a day for 6 months. So you can actually set up your own strategy with this, but not spending gas on it. So the algorithm is just gonna pull out the math and figure it out by itself.
Okay.
But the claim stuff, of course, is something that you need to do in order to pull it out to your wallet. That's not something that I can do automatically. But to actually to provide a sort of service that can do this is related to the script that we talked earlier about. So I have this entire repo with Python scripts that does automatically claim and compound for various miners. And I'm going to, of course, create one for my own here and post that in the community for everyone to make use of.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, if you can send me that link, I mean, I can point people to your repos so they can check those out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they just need to know, especially like Python, get it running, and it's a little more complex for a lot of users, but it's there.
Yeah, I completed a very full and detailed README on each of my scripts. So there is step-by-steps to install Python, what modules do you need to install, how to set it up, how to work out the strategies, because with the scripts you can also here say if you want to compound 4 times a day and stuff like that. It's actually very flexible in that sense. And it's all in there in the README.
Nice.
Listening, everybody, that was Jack with FrostFlakes. Great guy. After listening to him, I think we share a lot of different feelings about dApps and things like that. So, I usually just try to share things that are different, and this is very different from everything else that's been out there. Anyway, I will leave a link down below for FrostFlakes. As mentioned in the video that we talked about, it is a referral link. I plan on doing airdrops to anybody that's on my team here. This isn't financial advice. I'm not telling you should do this or you need to do this. This is basically based on your risk level and what you feel is right for you. It's your choice. Anyway, guys, that is FrostFlakes. Like I said, I'll leave a link below. Go ahead and like the video if you like it. Hit subscribe if you want to subscribe. Let me know what you think of the AMAs. Do you enjoy them better than just my reviews? Just tell me what you think. Anyway, yeah, if you aren't subscribed, you know where the big red button is, and we'll catch you on the next one.